Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. And we're zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth in terms of understanding problematic communication or communication breakdown with a narcissist, someone who has a pathological sense of self importance, someone who has an outer demeanor of being warm, very charismatic, but inside there is something much different lurking underneath the surface, the private self, the inner world, the true insecurities or the lack of really true authentic ego of the narcissist, and then the communication styles that are problematic and hurtful towards others, specifically those that are manipulative in nature. In other words, it's designed to have a negative assessment or instill a sort of criticism underhanded, that you, the other, the supply, whomever, does not know what they are doing. In other words, to make you look bad, make you look and turn you into a pool of self-doubt, lack of self-recognition, lack of being validated for who you are. In other words, you trying to bring your A game, your happy self to the narcissist, and there will always be a flaw for them to find. There is no flaw, but they will create some division or some divisiveness, something that will be as just a sort of a jab that will cause you to feel hurt, sad, bewildered, doubtful of yourself, and like you can't make it, you are nothing without them. So the problem with the narcissist communication is that they have such a pathological sense of self-importance that is only their thought patterns or opinion is always has to be right. And there is no room for any other opinion, viewpoint, expression. They will just stop it dead in its tracks. They will not listen. They will communicate in a way that oftentimes is highly critical in nature of others. In other words, giving condescending statements and not playful or supportive in nature. We're talking, it's coming from a source of pain. You can feel it in the tone of their voice. It is important to realize that the narcissist has a much different inner world than what you see on the exterior. So if that can help you at all, where they really have to always put on a show, be on stage, appear as if. And it oftentimes, underneath there's someone who is very uncomfortable. They don't have a true sense of their private self being in the outside world. In other words, they can't just be, oftentimes you feel like they're not very present with you. They're just, putting on a show, a sham. They're just trying to they're trying to engage in persona management, and you never really know what's going on until you either learn something negative or hear something negative, or you really begin to fight, or you're not getting together, you're not getting along, and the communication has completely broke down. So, it is oftentimes very pointed conversation. In other words, having an intellectual tinge to it. So, in other words, they might come off as if they know better, are more intelligent than the other. This is their sense of grandiosity, the entitlement, the feeling that, it's really caused by their denial of what they need to deal with. Oftentimes you'll see that they have whole pockets and areas of their life that they have not dealt with. And so they, because of this, when they communicate, they're communicating really from a deep sense of loss or an insecurity. And it's this that is projected onto the other. And as I say before, it's usually oftentimes in some very direct, directly correlated to what their insecurity is. In other words, if their insecurity is that they're not talented enough, then all of a sudden their flaw that they're finding with you is you are not talented enough. If they have a feeling that, it is all about their money or their clout or their strings, then all of a sudden they're going to use this as a point of contention with you and, ask you what you have with regards to this. In other words, they're not able to just accept people as they are. They always want to hold a measuring stick to them and constantly keep that measuring stick, around like they're walking around. That's why I was, get the measuring stick. I mean, it's like they're constantly walking around with a measuring stick with, wherever they talk. Whenever they're, out or talking to people. So you'll feel like you're constantly being judged or in comparison to something. Because they feel that themselves, that they're always, having to prove themselves or compete against something else to be better than it. They always want to be the right number one. It's only their viewpoint that matters. And, they are the best. So in the communication, you will feel that. And the answer to break that cycle is to come back, rather soft. Of course, when it gets so bad, you really do have to go no contact, because they're not going to change the energy or communication style. They're always going to be that way. And if it's your family, you have to, love your family. Yes, accept them for who they are. Or if it's not your family, accept them for who they are. They are your brothers and sisters in light. And all you can pray is for the best for them, and that, you wish them well. Just always in your heart, no matter what, wish them well, wherever they go in their life. And, realize that then when you do that, you're relieving yourself of the negative attachment to them to try to be a counterforce to their force. So you then exit their force and you come into your power. You literally have to exit their energy to come into your own. Why hasn't this happened before? Because you were plugged into the narcissist. Oftentimes the narcissist, in their communication, it's like they will create supply and dynamics where it's all of these people. In other words, all these people are my, part of my posse, my party, my gang. And I've got this whole strength in numbers sort of mentality, but yet, they don't really have an independent voice on their own. You'll see in isolated areas that there's some real issues where they are not fulfilled, and it's creating, oftentimes a very harsh communication style, very sharp, very angry, very sardonic or sarcastic, where, jokes where someone else is always the butt, is paying the price for their jokes. They're, it's like in the Bible, they can't see the splint in their own eye, they're looking at another. And so, realize that responsibility then is on you to detach and come into a softer energy and a warmer communication style, which is true to you, but is not true to them. And it's letting them go, and it's just exiting their energy. It's truly exiting their energy, their thought patterns, because it is a pattern of thought and a pattern of feeling. So as we were talking about earlier, if you imagine two different blueprints for two different houses, you're going to have two different houses. It's just how they're designed. And so it's very much like the communication style of the narcissist. They have a whole different blueprint than, that is that way. I don't know if, I don't want to use the word different right now. I just want to say it is what it is. And when you come up against it, you will feel, you might feel their grandiosity. You might feel their illusion. You might feel their charisma. You might feel the love bombing. You might be, enchanted. Just like when you see a beautiful home, you're like, wow, look at that. Look at that incredible garden. I would love to have that someday. Teach me how, how do you get that, hundreds of magnolias surrounding the trim of your lawn, or your beautiful, carvings in the wood of your fortress. You might have this awe about them. So that's the love bombing. Oftentimes there is definitely a state of awe or, love bombing that comes with this relationship. In other words, they would be your knight in shining armor, your goddess, from the sea, or whoever was enchanting to you in whatever way that they were. Perhaps they were very, excuse my reach. Perhaps they were very enchanting to you, and you felt that your life was taken to the next level. But then it's really time for clarity, because after that fog, after that head spin, you really do need the clarity, and to exit that energy, come into more of an upright more of an upright energy, that is more, just more clear within your body, and allow yourself to be at peace in your own skin, because the narcissist relationship will take you out of your skin. It'll have you living and communicating really from the outside in, always being supportive of them, but to the point where it squeezes you out till you have nothing left. And because they require so much. The narcissist requires a lot of support, a lot of energy, a lot of reflecting them back to them, and not allowing you to be you. You're not getting it back in return. You're not getting that validation. You're not getting that love. You're not getting that, high five, or you look lovely today, or anything of that nature. You're not getting the love, because oftentimes they're just trying to get more supply. They're more invested in how they appear to the outside world, or versus the inner world, or being true to another. So in other words, this grandiosity of their communication allows them to pathologically lie. They just feel this sense of entitlement, and you can feel that in their communication. So step out of the energy of their communication. Allow yourself to clear those blocks, or clear that attachment, or that need to be constantly supportive of them. Acquiesce to their needs. Always saying yes. Derailing your own schedule for them. Whatever it is that you sacrificed. And oftentimes, the sacrifice that you made oftentimes was what, you probably explained to yourself, well, this is what love is. There's a cost for me to give of my time, my energy, and be, always focused on them. And maybe that's what love is. And you never got a chance to receive. And so, now getting into a chance, where it's now more important for you to be on the receiving end, for you to receive you, namely, number one, out of this wreck of a communication, and receiving of yourself in, if it's been very, very rough, then the antidote is to come to smooth. You need to smooth things down. You need to smooth things over. You need to come to a communication where you have clarity and you have closure within yourself. In other words, it's hard to have closure with a narcissist because their communication style, they don't feel that they've done anything wrong. It's just how they are. So your clarity must come, from you. You must do the work and say, the time now to be clear is now. The time to really come into my own body, my own skin, and exit that energy. And I don't need to do that for love. I'm going to allow love to come to me, and it's time for me to receive a compliment. People who've been in relationships with narcissists, they're so used to being supportive of others. They're so used to being codependent that they don't know how to receive a compliment. They don't feel comfortable. They have to, they're so used to the defense mechanisms. Whereas you see when a healthy person, oh my gosh, you look so cute today. And a secure person will say, thank you. They don't have to go into a whole tirade of, well, this and this and this and that. And then I did, they're coming from a space of security. When you are really in a lot of communication with a narcissist, your own communication might make you come off as very insecure. It's time to let that go. It's time to stop that. That's not working for you. That's not looking good on you. Coming from the martyr perspective and the martyr communication style is not your strength. The strength is coming from truly being able to support and knowing that you deserve to get what you need, your needs met, and not just all about fulfilling another's needs, because that's what ends up happening within a narcissist communication style is you end up becoming the counterforce to their force, or a communication supporter versus really communicating yourself. If you can really clearly understand that, and if you want, you can just say, I get it. You can, so it's okay to come like atop your own mountain, if you will. Come atop your own congruency between your mind and heart. And if it takes you to a different place that's not with a narcissist, oftentimes that is what is very scary and very difficult to decide, and have that courage and that audacity and that strength to say, I can take care of myself. I do have the ability. I do have the power. And power is, which is our goal here, is to come into that power, if you will, come into your own personal power, which feels very much different from a narcissist force. You know, it's very, you feel very at one, at centered within yourself, and you feel a sense of self-acceptance and self-respect and self-trust, and I got this. You know, not and then when you get to the I got this, then you can emerge and basically come up to the we've got this, when you are then communicating with someone who is giving you respect, isn't trying to manipulate through communication, causing you to feel poor or negative about yourself. When you say, you know what, I'm not that bad. I'm not as bad as you're making me out to be. I'm sorry, but I'm exiting this energy. And really, you know, that's really truly, how I feel. It's like literally opening the door. As I saw, Elvis is leaving the building. It is time to get out of the range of that and get yourself into a better space, a better place within you, within your life. And look at the meaning that you're assigning to it, which is a positive meaning, that you're finding that okayness within yourself, which is a sense of certainty. We're talking a lot about feelings, but, really, feelings are the basis of it all when you really look at it, because that's where your needs, your profession, the things that that you go after, whether you take that course, whether you make that decision to say hi to somebody, whether you make that decision to take care of your health, take care of your finances, take care of your spirituality, your communication, sharpening up your communication skills, sharpening up your posture of yourself, sharpening up your religious studies, your professional studies, following up on your interests, your talents, whether you really embrace those, oftentimes is required to exit that negative communication style so you can enter into a much more positive communication style, what I call positive orderly direction thinking. It has a whole different language. It has a whole different emotion, where you really begin to then live the dream, manifest your dreams, and begin to pursue that and live in that energy, which is free of guilt, cleansed of the harassment, cleansed of the constant judging, criticizing, and belittling and minimizing, where you're fully standing in your power. It's a much more strong and cohesive place to be versus the shattered sort of a semblance of a person with which the narcissist is trying to reflect back to you in a negative manner, yet you know better. You know better, and believe me, not to make this religious, but God wants better for you. God knows better for you. The higher power, your spiritual guides, your archangels, those people who are surrounding you in spirit, in energy, in light, in love, giving you that like little bit of energy, just saying, yeah, go clean your house. Yeah, go clean your car. Yeah, go for that job. Go for that book. Read that book. Make that comment. Do that post. Begin to surround yourself. I am now putting up positive art. I am now playing positive music. I'm finding some new, interesting, nifty things to do on the internet. I'm following up on my interests. I'm taking up sculpting or painting or watercolors or knitting or crocheting or working out or fitness or health or recipes. I'm following up on those now, because you're coming from a sense of cohesiveness within yourself, and, coming from that sense of independence, individuality, and self accountability, where then you self-govern your feelings, and then those people then who you select to come into that energy, you then have the power to see who you let in and decide, and then interact with those who will interact with you and communicate and have relationships with you in that positive space. It's really like taking your life up to that next level. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these communication videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.